here on our brand spanking new map as we hop into Four Lakes to watch two Age of Empire 2 legends in action. And the cool thing about this is this is built on the concept of an Age of Empires 2 map, so they're going to be in some ways familiar with the dynamics at play. Obviously a different game, but a comfortable setting, as Four Lakes is, of course, originally an AoE2 map.
It looks like they're doing exactly both on wood. We'll see which lakes they decide to take out first. And some grazing sheep. Look at this beautiful. This one, I hope this sheep lives. Oh, just kidding. Jeez.
Come with Papa. We've got to get you home. It's safe back in our town center. Under a town center, nobody can hurt you. Just club them from the back with the cane. They won't feel a thing.
My question is, who puts the bandana on them? Does the scout like get off his horse, sit there, tied around their neck, be like, "Hey, buddy, you're coming with me"?
And they just accept that. It's like, oh, yeah, sure. Like, the best part is they very eagerly hop along behind you, right? That's the most weird part. Maybe maybe what's happened is, once again, back to the whole sci-fi thing we've been pushing here today, Jess, is that this is microfiber scarves, like, that are made of, like, nanofiber. So, like, one small thread is tied to the scout, and then he wraps the scarf around them, so they can't actually get away. They're being pulled along. There you go. Sci-fi.
Oh, I believe it. Maybe that's why they go so fast when the scout is there, but when the scout leaves, they literally can't hardly walk.
Yeah, they just lost, like, the fiber. And to be honest, like, this isn't a far stretch, folks. Let's remember that Age of Empires 1 had two-legged robots, Mercedes with bazookas, and tiny babies on tricycles with cannons. So I think it's fair to say that this is BS. This is not like medieval Age and before. This is 100% like probably the 28th century.
Yeah. Too far forward that we're missing our Mercedes.
Yeah, that's gone. Maybe one day they'll be back into AoE4's realm. Right now, Kasva is making his way back to base with a hell of a lot of sheep. Not something he necessarily needs when fishing is so tempting, but at least gives him a backup reserve if he does get rushed on his lakes, because that's something we were highlighting before the game began, is that it is possible for you to sneak quickly across your opponent's side, drop a dock after going for a quick feudal, and then block out all of their food source on the water.
Both of them have gone for the closest lake, so we haven't seen any, counters so far. But I know that Capoch has scouted Kasva's dock and done a little bit of harassing with his scouts.
And the gold is pretty far out here, but on the backside. Meanwhile, if you look at Capoch, this is at the front, so this could be something exploitable. Kasva might be stroking his chin right now, thinking, what's a word beginning with O that will make Capoch go, oh no?
Looks like his scouts are heading out over there too to do some harassing.
He's like, oh, this is a very far forward gold vein. Be a shame if someone was... No, Kasva, resist the temptation. You're an HRE player. Just eco boom.
Let's see. Nope.
Yeah, I think they're just gonna... I genuinely think, by the way, this is just gonna be a very kind of stalematey first 10 minutes where nobody necessarily aggresses.
Yeah, look, 2v2, sheep kind of trying to help as much as they can. Moral support.
Yeah, get him, mate. All right, we're done with this. Now, remember that this small damage is a little bit annoying. Something we talked about earlier with HRE is when you harass their villagers, like, it stops the prelate from inspiring. He has to heal instead. So it's actually, like, to Capoch's detriment that he's defending. He'd be better off going into Kasva's base and doing the same, because Kasva has a prelate out here that would have an interruption to his whole inspiration. In fact, baby got back. And folks, this is something that Capoch can't match unless he goes for a forward Archon and sets up a new wood line. He can only cover his food and gold or his wood.
Yeah, that's significant disadvantage. I just think for Kasva, it's just like a better pocket for that placement. So he is going back and going towards stone. Not gold, though.
I do think that the issue that I've got if you've Capoch is like you're just going to be inefficient in comparison. So if you don't try to do something early, like some sort of pressure, if you turn this into a cast stage rush, I think Kasva beats you by probably like half a minute to a minute, at least at this rate.
Yeah, definitely. A little bit of stabbing the wolf.
Damn, you really like are into watching these wolves die, huh?
I don't like it in real life. I just like it in
But
this,
in
this
game,
fake
you're a roost
life.
spammer. I can smell it. I know it already.
I love me some Ruse. I'm not good at playing as Ruse. I play French all the time, but I love the Ruse. I think they're a lot of fun.
They definitely. I love the versatility, the flexibility they have, which is why like I'm happy that HRE is getting a little bit more flex in what they do. Now, this is where I was curious about whether we're going to get it. I highlighted it as a possibility, and it is going to be exactly as I called. Capoch is going to move across the dock, and the timing on this could be really good. But Kasva, keep in mind he just made his way up. He can actually counter this out with galleys of his own.
Yeah. He'll be able to, and it looks like he'll have enough, you know, once this goes up, be able to queue one up already.
So the play right now for Kasva is to pull his scouts back across and start torching this down, and then have a galley to counter out the galley coming up from Capoch. And keep in mind that Kasva's already pushing his ahead of Capoch, so he'll always have the numerical advantage in the situation.
Yeah, definitely. Especially with his chapel placement and even just like looking at the eco numbers, there's already an advantage there.
And I don't think Capoch is wrong with this move. Like, the deer and the scout fighting over each other. Who gets the kill? Who gets the kill? Oh, God.
That's the wolf killer.
Every time I watch a unit do that, by the way, I'm just reminded of like Scrappy do with the like, let me at him, just being held back. It looks so goofy.
It does look, it does look a little silly.
So here's a weird thought for you. Is like, you'd think this is somewhat good because Capoch is forcing defensive units from Kasva. But the reality is that both of them are suffering here because they both now have to keep building galleys. The issue is that Kasva is ahead, so he will eventually benefit. The only way this works nicely for Capoch is if he does enough damage to one of these galleys, he has to fall back and expose his fishing line. But right now, nice move by Kasva. He pulls his fishing boats across, and that's why this fight is bad for Capoch. If he'd done this, not scoured, it's brilliant. But the moment it was seen, he just needed to cancel the dock and walk away. It's a bad play now.
Yeah, he's just going to turn around, heal up, come back. And it's just like a stronger investment. Yeah, he's only at 70 wood, Capoch, so having to throw out that much wood when you could be building other things with that, it's just not necessarily the strongest investment, which we've seen in the past where, you know, with the French, they're building more ships, sacrificing that eco for leveraging the water.
And it's just going to be match to match, like every time. He's going to try to stay one step ahead of him. And the crazy part is he's going to tech up vastly ahead of him because of that Ark and Chapel. You know, we usually talk about mirror matchups and how small differences make the mile, but Ark and Chapels being suboptimal and beautifully optimal for the other player, that is a massive difference for this Civ. And it's why Kasva is already making his way up, while Capoch is still half a minute to a minute away from being ready. In fact, more than a minute. Look at his gold. His gold that isn't being buffed at all is miles behind.
Yep. And it's just going to get buffed even more now that we see the Regnance Cathedral going down. Once we and there's like a nice, really well-placed relic right there that he can quickly grab.
That is convenient. One of them in each of the players' bases. And part of this is going to be Capoch is unlikely to be doing the Burgrave Palace rushes if he's like fresh back to the game. But then on top of it is the fact that he knows that with this investment in galleys, Capoch's timing's been delayed. He's not going to like Burgrave rush you and spam 20 mana arms. It's just too gold pricey. And as a result, like Kasva's going to get a free tech up. He's going to get his Regnants going first. He could even think about just going Imperial. This could become an old school type of HRE game simply because Capoch has played himself into a corner. Literally into a corner here on the 4 legs.
Literally. He has made a tiny little corner wall just so I guess avoid any raids, but it's not like there's any cav or military out there besides the 2 scouts. So it's mostly just been a warship battle.
And you can see the miscalibration for Capoch. Like, he has so much food, but the gold is still lagging behind. It's the heavy investment in the galleys and the fact that I think he had a prelate walking out there, but he has too many people on gold for it to be valid.
Yeah, this doesn't work there. There's just like Kasva's slowly but surely definitely inching a lot further ahead.
And you see, like, Capoch is just like, please, just let me touch your fishing. No, get back. And here's the problem. As soon as you pull away from the dock, you no longer have the healing.
Yeah.
Heavy damage in. Nice peel back. Bad trade initially coming out for Capoch is going to try to make it a little bit better, but like all you're doing is delaying any sort of aggression. The fishing boats are somewhat idle when they have to come and repair, but ultimately you're not really slowing Kasva down. And while this is happening, he's picking up all the relics. By the time you tech up, he's probably going to be moving out for 2 more relics.
It's a good distraction too. Like they're kept there, just having to micro them back and forth, pay attention to what's going on. You can't see like the scouts going out in the front, or if Kasva even starts to get military out, it's going to be a good distraction.
And now, like the problem is, like Capoch is trying to recover with 2 lakes because he's set up on the north side. But you're a mile behind. The Hulk's going to come out, and this whole line is going to sink. And it's a heavy investment. Like Galleys aren't a cheap unit to build when you build this many, and that's why his tech time got slowed down so much.
You think it would have been worth it for him to just let it go when he saw the second galley come out?
I think a better play than what he's done here. I mean, first of all, like fix your arc and chapel. I think it's worth moving your wood line front line because I understand if you need a reserve wood line if you're up against an aggressive civ, but you're up against HRE, so you shouldn't care about that. On top of that, a cool play could have been to pull 1 or 2 villages and palisade wall in the relics. You would have heavily delayed Kasva's timing, and you would have caught up. It's a highly underrated play. We start to see the return of it, especially against Bruce players, but also against HRE. And it's an important detail. I think if Capoch takes that approach, even with a slower tech up time with a worse starting spawn, he can still recover. But now, it's going to be flatlining because he just scouted it out, but he scouts it out too late. The dot goes up, the demo ship's being built, and he will not be able to stop this.
I'm excited to see the demo ship because that's what I wanted to see before. That'll take things out a lot quicker.
As long as Capoch doesn't micro them 1 tile apart, because like boom ships are admittedly great if someone has all their fishing boats touching tips. If they're not touching tips like this, boom ships less value.
He might get a like 4 kill right on the front. That's it.
Which is worth, like if you think of the cost of boom ship compared to the fishing boats, like it's 240 resources compared to 75 wood per boat. And here we go. Oh, oh, the value. Wait, what? Wait, come back. Kaz.
Wait, that's too far.
He's just trying to blend in. He's like, don't mind me, guys. I'm just a fishing boat. Why have you got a bunch of gunpowder in the back? It's a new type of fishing. We throw the kegs in the water, and the fish go boom, and then we catch them. Oh, yeah, that seems reasonable.
Has he forgotten? Oh, there he goes. There he goes.
Bye-bye.
Oh, Whoopsie. 5 down.
Oof. Damn, almost got the 6th as well. 11
one.
HP. No witnesses, no survivors.
Second one coming out.
Yeah, but they're not stacked as much anymore. So he's like, where's the value here? Like, Capoch's OCD of spreading them out to each fishing site is actually benefiting him here.
Yeah. It's smart.
Not good enough,
though. Oh, there we go. That's most valuable.
Yeah, 3 fishing boats is worthwhile because it's 75 wood each, and the boom ships are 240 resources.
Yeah, and it looks like Capoch has a Burgrave Palace because we see groups of men-at-arms making their way out onto the map.
He's got to be fast with his timing. Like, there is a window of opportunity, but he's shrinking fast. Look at Kasva's night count. He's already up to 6. He's stacking up fast. And this raid around, like, he'll be able to deny extra relics going in, and he hasn't even upgraded them yet.
No.
Those aren't men-at-arms. Those are boy-at-arms. Actually, teen-at-arms. Boy-at-arms are what I call vanguards. Those are teen-at-arms.
Teen-at-arms?
Yeah, because they do teeny damage. Nice. Yeah, oh my god.
Oh, they're just chasing this one guy. He's like, leave me alone.
Wait, does Capoch not have marching drills? Oh my god, no. He doesn't have marching drills.
No. They're just slow. He's trying to counter with spearmen at this point.
That's a sin. That is just a sin. Like, not having marching drills and making this play is a sin. Oh my god, they're just dead.
No.
I mean, Castle Age Man-at-Arms upgrade isn't even that expensive. It's baffling to me that you wouldn't get this first. You sacrifice like 2 man-at-arms, 3 man-at-arms to get it. It's so important as well.
This dock is going to go down slowly but surely by the galley.
I think Kaz was happy with the value got. Several boom ships, a Hulk out as well.
Yeah, he took out most of the vills on this front gold too.
I I mean, I'm trying to think what Capoch's recovery plan is, because he went Burgrave as well. I think if he doesn't do damage to the base Kasva in like the next 4 minutes, you're just going to get outscaled. You should, at that point, probably be going GG.
Yeah, there's just Spearman. I think his counter is sending out the Spearman that he has. It's not significant enough to counter the strength of the Knights.
And Capoch has not upgraded the man-at-arms. He'll switch over the spears. At least he did upgrade them. I'm glad he moved beyond the plastic swords at least. Spears are going to be a good solution to the Knights. But, you know, Kasva's already building into the archer ranges, so he'll be able to get the crossbows that will counter both units you're looking to push. Yes, you don't get bonus damage up against the spears, but, like, overall, the base damage is good enough in mass to counter out what you're doing.
Yeah. I think he'll just have to mass it up completely.
Yeah, it's especially effective when your opponent doesn't get marching drills, which don't want to harp on it too much. But if you check that base,
nope, not done. And he's losing his entire fishing eco to one ship. And like on the northern quarter, like Kasva's trying to do the same thing.
Yeah, so he's going to block him at the north. The good news for Capoch fans is he snuck the south bank, but like overall, Kasva's income is just superior in every regard right now. He's ahead on wood, he's ahead on gold, he's ahead on food. Like, you are at least getting stones, so the way that Capoch can recover this game is if he goes for an aggressive keep dropping Kasva's base. But he needs to use it as a staging point to follow up with siege. Otherwise, it just doesn't work.
Yeah, and right now he doesn't have the wood eco to do that.
No, right now that the stone is gathering fast, he's thrown the stone away. My issue is how do you reach the base? You have to close guard them, and look at the spear count for Capoch. He's only got 4 in the field. There's 8 knights prowling around. So if your plan is to go for a villager pull into an aggressive keep drop, like how are you even getting there safely?
Yeah, at this point, there's so many military crossing that center section. I don't think that we'll be able to get there safely.
No, it might have to be a defensive keep. You're maybe saving yourself for an extra 3 minutes if you do that, because Kasva will likely just drop an aggressive siege workshop to build traps on the front line.
Yeah. Yeah, Kasva's just a composition. Military composition is better too.
Okay, they are no longer teen arms. They are actually proper man-at-arms now. But
graduated.
yeah, and here's the graduation present. Giant clunk to the head from a knight on horseback. It just doesn't work if you don't have more. And the issue is also, not only does he not have the marching drill, so he can't dictate the fight, he doesn't even have the heavy maces, so he can't even overwhelm these knights right now.
Right. It doesn't help that he's got crossbowmen ready to go.
Yep.
No counter for the crossbowmen, like right behind him on the flank.
Do you know what Capoch doesn't have? Villages. At least, like, sorry, I'm an oracle. I'm predicting the future. 30 seconds from, not even that. 20 seconds from now, he's not going to have villages. Like, look how many have been butchered now. Kasva with over a 10-point lead in that department. And he can turn around with these knights and take out the outpost as well. Looks like Capoch is going to try to take a good fight. And the only way he can take a half-decent fight is when he doubles up the units he's fighting.
Yeah, at that point, it's not even worth it. He's gonna have to invest significantly in rebuilding up his entire eco. And -3 wood.
And before it wasn't as big of a deal because, you know, you weren't being raided actively into eco on land. But Capoch is almost 20 minutes in the game and still doesn't have wheelbarrow.
Oof.
So
that hurts. That hurts.
It hurts a lot because usually we see, like, how often we've seen these dives by knights, so like 10 knights rush in and there's 25 villages and they formation shuffle away because they have so much movement speed. Just taking away that extra movement speed that wheelbarrow gives you is enough to kill off 6, 7, or 8 villages in that situation.
And he needs that movement speed too for gathering at this rate because of the Arkan Chapel is not in like the most ideal placement.
The Arkan Chapel literally does nothing now. He's not gathering the stone anymore. He's already like done with that. He's given up on that. Is he wait, what happened to his stone? Did he sell the stone? Yeah, he did. So because he got blocked off the gold, oh, okay, no, there we go. There's the stone. Like I couldn't see it on the map. So this is not better than selling the stone, Jess. Like, what does that stop?
Or like, no, it's not a very aggro keep. It's just like to protect his wood line.
Maybe, but Even
that what he
then,
wanted?
if I'm Kasva, I could just actually walk in and drop a keep on the north side of your base and block the wood still. You get very limited
Yeah.
value out of this keep.
And now he's completely pushed off his fish on the south as well.
The only way this keep is good is if he now maybe thinks about... Well, I don't think you go for another keep in the north. Don't do that. But like wall, you could wall.
Yeah.
That is allowed. I feel like players forget it's allowed when you're in Castle Age sometimes, but if you get the break, you could build stone walls, because right now Kasva doesn't have any siege.
Yeah. I mean, he has a good amount of stone to do it, but he's just losing so much. Oh, demo ship, demo ship.
Nah, who cares?
Just like a little bit of flames.
You kind of get baited in because you're like almost 21 minutes into the game and it's HRE, so it's like, oh, explosive tech. Nah, this is Castle. They're both stuck here. I'm trying to think of a way Capoch gets back into this game, but like most of the ways to recover now rely on Kasva making mistakes, and quite a few of them.
Yeah, it looks like he's trying to inch back up with his eco, but Kasva is now, aging up. He's going through his age up, so once his upgrades come through, it's just not going to look good for Capoch.
So, in terms of recovery points, Capoch... Okay, let's just forget those recovery points. What's happening?
Yeah.
So,
oh god, yeah.
The recovery point for Capoch at this point, Jess, might be game 2. And I actually wouldn't blame him for tapping out right now, because he's still being raided on his eco lines. He's still losing control of the lakes. And yep, that's the detail. I don't blame him. Without that fishing economy, he can't stay alive. GG gets called. Kasva, it felt like death by 1,000 cuts for Capoch, but death seemed like an inevitability. And Kasva, maybe as expected here, will open up the mirror with a win. But best of 3s, so remember, if you're a Capoch fan, still more to see here. He can still recover on his chosen home map.
Yeah, he has time to recover. That was just like a little bit painful, that last demo ship taking out whatever food he had left.
Yeah, it's kind of a tough one because the boom ships are already screwing you. Imagine explosive tech in there. Imagine the bombards as well. Like, Kasva's literally doing this to cut down your eco so that eventually he rolls one bombard in and blitzes the base. So I don't blame Capoch for calling GG. I would hope, though, the game number 2 that he remembers that wheelbarrow exists. I think that was... I was okay with it until he just tried to switch to land more.